Good evening, SOBs and Glass Cannon fans. Welcome to Stream of Blood. I am your host and game master, Jared Logan. We are so happy to have you all here tonight to once again enter the dark and foreboding city of Doskvol for part 2 of our Glass Cannon Network Stream of Blood crossover, Blood and Glass. We, with the boys from the Glass Cannon, we have been playing the incredible game by John Harper, Blades in the Dark, a game about the criminal underworld of a steampunk fantasy city that is haunted by ghosts. And we loved our first session. We had to come back for more. And so here we are. Thanks for being here. A couple quick notes before we get into it. You may see some shamelessly cribbed artwork here on the stream tonight. That artwork is by Cedric Pay-Reverne, and he is the concept artist for the Dishonored series of games. We've cribbed that a little bit, legally, I assure you. And the opening theme music you heard was We Cannot Defend You by co.ag music. Also want to let you know that if you're tuning into us right now, we hope you tune into us for our shows at Gen Con. We are part of Gen Con this year, which is online this year, and online is where we live. I actually don't have a flesh and blood body. I'm actually a ghost in the machine. And so Gen Con online is perfect for me. We're doing 4 shows for Gen Con, 2 of which will involve Gen Con attendees, people that just signed up for the convention. We're doing Vampires in Pittsburgh and our Call of Cthulhu show, the Neptune Society, shows for Gen Con. So please go to gencon.com and look up those shows, see when they're happening, and please tune in. I'm really excited about the shows because the shows that have like Gen Con attendees in them, they're going to actually be part of our storylines going forward. So the things that the Gen Con attendees do in their game will affect the part 2, where our cast of like Ross Bryant, Thomas Middleditch, Ashley Birch, when they play the game a little bit later for Gen Con, they will have to deal with the things that the players who just signed up for the games did to their game world. So I'm really excited about that. Please, as it says right there below me, search Stream of Blood at the gencom.com event finder, and you will find our events. Okay, let's get into tonight's game, which I am tentatively titling Downtime in Doskvol. Let's bring on our players. First of all, he is a Stream of Blood regular. He is one of the world's greatest natural role players. He has a natural instinct for it, probably because he has some sort of dissociative identity disorder. He owns a full occult library, which he points out to us every time he plays. And he is playing the Cutter playbook for Blades in the Dark, which is people that like to get in there and fight with their hands and blades. His character is named Pretty Marco Coyle. Please welcome Ross Bryant, everybody.
Hello. Thank you.
Buddy.
Thank you, Jared, for all the high praise. And yes, whatever skill I have at this is just because there's no center to me. It's just
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, full dissociation. The center cannot hold. The falcon cannot hear the falconer.
Right. I was reading some of your the charts from when you were in the hospital for a while. I said no emotions was something that they used to describe you. No real emotions.
Yeah, blank, unblinking eyes, and disturbed to hear that I would often say, "We are Ross."
Right. Exactly. Tell us about Pretty Marco Coyle. He had a great session last time. What? Tell us who he is, if someone didn't tune in last time.
Marco Coyle is is from a realm of this world called the Dagger Isles. Came here with a group of traveler folk from across the waves, and fell in with this crew. And his skills on the water and contacts at wharfs probably help with their smuggling operation. But as far as his stature and skills, he's just wrapped in corded muscle tattoos, but with a face that is unblemished, unscarred, and absolutely gorgeous.
Wonderful. And he even at one point in the game blocked his face from getting electroplasm on it so that the burn would get on his hand but not on his beautiful face. That was maybe one of my favorite moments. Let me bring in your other two players. These guys are part of it's not a one podcast or one stream. It is a network of streams that they have created and built. And when we were putting our little Stream of Blood together, we looked at that and said, oh, man, it would be so great if we could do something as cool as that one day. Let me bring out the first guy playing the mastermind of the group, the Spider. Archibald is his name. This guy, was so fantastic to play with last time. Knew the rules, which was super helpful. This is a game that is new to all of us, but this guy knew the rules, and he made it so fun. Please welcome Joe O'Brien.
Yo, buddy.
Hey, dude. How's it going?
It is going great. Thank you so much for doing this again. I'm so excited to play more. At the end of last session, I was like, oh, we'll be back. I knew we had too much fun playing Blades in the Dark. We had to get this group back together.
Absolutely, and we have to show the the Downtime game, the faction game, right? Because that's one of the things that makes Blades in the Dark so unique is that it doesn't just have the kind of part you might have in a dungeon crawl type fantasy D20 game where you're in the moment. It has this other kind of side to it where you're kind of dealing with the factions of the city and taking turf. So that's what we're going to get into tonight. Joe, you're playing, is it Archibald Gray? Is that right?
Yes, Archibald Gray, yeah.
Tell us about Archibald.
Archibald, interesting character. He's the spider of the group. I like this class idea, the mastermind. And I just imagine him as he's a very short-statured, rail-thin, bird-like features, redhead who was once a jockey, aspired to be a jockey, and then got hurt, and also grew just a little bit too large. And he kind of got bounced out of the business, but he loves horses and he loves horse racing.
Did he break a horse's back maybe at some point?
Yeah, it's something of that nature. And so
too much weight.
right. At 5'6", 130, it was just the horse couldn't handle it. And so he ends up turning to a life of crime, and he's got a lot of connections at the track, so it's a lot of there's the high society and there's the low society all at the track, and that's sort of where he moves through to like meet people, get information, pass information, and then find out where the good jobs might be.
It's a cool character, and one thing I love about it is that it brings kind of the noir feel into our Stream of Blood Blades in the Dark game here, so I really dig that, because this game does have like that noir element of like those old black and white, like we have to do the heist kind of films that I love. Joe, thanks for being here. Let's bring in our third and final player. He is a very accomplished game master in his own right, and I always love to play with game masters because they know how hard it is and they help you out. And sometimes they do it very subtly where you can't even tell that they're helping you out, and you're like, oh, I'm glad that guy was here. And I also loved his character. I didn't expect him to go for such a weird character, but he is playing a Slide, which is a character who is like very socially adept, good at kind of social maneuvering and intrigue, but a Taikarosi Slide named Pontiac Zoe. Please welcome, you know him, you love him, Mr. Troy Lavallee, everybody.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hi.
The one and only.
Isn't it great playing with another game master? Because they show you respect.
That's
the respect that you deserve. Respect for the office.
Yeah, Ross, pay attention. Pay attention to how Troy behaves in the stream. Okay.
Very forgiving and listening and just kind of let you go with it. A giver.
I have to bring this up. Recently, I played a game with my wife and just her female friends, like some wives that we're friends with. And I'd never really played a game where it was just women before. And they were so much better at it than men because they all listened to each other. And they would stop and go, wait, is that okay if I do that? Like before they took actions. And they'd be like, and they just solved the mystery in like an hour and a half. And then role playing partying afterward.
It was a 15-book campaign that they solved in an hour and a half.
But we do it differently, us gentlemen. We just take decisive action and let the chips fall where they may. And
expect no clear-sighted emotional intelligence here.
Yes,
not listening, interrupting.
Yeah, in this game about people who probably have made some poor life choices, even in the dark fantasy city in which they dwell. Guys, should we get into it?
Yes.
Yeah, man. And I got to say, I'm a little nervous because you touted the rule knowing, but I am, I sort of like crammed for the quiz last time and I crammed scores. I didn't do too much downtime because I was like, we're not going to have time for downtime. So I am curious. I'm going to need your help to walk me through this, but it looks awesome. I'm very excited to explore.
I'm reading this for the first time. I hope it works out. Here we go. Look, I mean, we're all learning this game, but I mean, damn, that's part of the fun of this particular stream tonight, I think. And I am prepared. I always come prepared. So let's get right into it. And let's start with a recap because everybody likes a good recap. Last time, our criminal crew learned of a derailed train out in the Deathlands with a valuable cargo of electroplasm on it. They snuck past the Ministry of Preservation guards, made contact with a village full of ghosts out in the Deathlands, grabbed the cargo, and barely escaped from some sort of awful gestalt phantom that formed from everyone who had died in the train accident. And then they snuck right back into Doskvol through the busiest rail station in the city. So those are the events that happened last time. And so I want to bring you back to Doskvol, and I specifically want to bring you to the hideout of our criminal crew. Our crew, according to their crew sheet, makes their hideout in an abandoned rail car. And you guys make your turf in Coleridge. You don't have a lot of turf right now. And what we established last time is that we're playing on hard mode. So this is a gang that, they're tier 0, right? But I think at one point they were maybe a higher tier and they've lost territory. They've lost battles. They've lost scores. And subsequently, we started you guys with higher trauma. You guys already had like a couple of traumas. So actually, it'd be good to review that. How are people doing in terms of their trauma? And also, tell me if you have any harm right now. I kind of want to know just where your character is right now. You're back at the hideout. And Doskvol, by the way, it's never daytime. It's in an eternal state of dusk. The sun was destroyed 500 years ago in a cataclysm here in the labyrinthine city of Doskvol. So here in kind of the purple light of evening, your abandoned rail car is sitting there. You guys have made it back. You've probably already sold your ill-gotten gains. We'll get into that in a minute. But tell me where your character is in terms of trauma and their body. Like how much harm do they have?
I am a mess. I mean, I have 6 stress. I have 2 traumas. I'm haunted and unstable. A power combo. What else? Oh, 3rd-degree electrostatic burns on my body. 2nd level harm from my interaction with that apparition, that ghost.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was in rough shape before we started the mission, and now I come back in even worse shape, and I'm stressed out.
And tell me about Pontiac, because I skipped over that part with you, Troy. Pontiac is, he's Tycherosis from Tycheros or whatever. So he's got is it black eyes? He's a strange character.
Yeah, he's a weird guy. So everybody from Tycheros is kind of like touched by a demon a little bit. They're kind of the, I think I said last time, the Blades in the Dark equivalent of a tiefling. So he's pale. He's got like bluish skin, no pupils. He wears John Lennon glasses and a black hair. It looks like a build out of Bloodborne, as we were talking about earlier with your background. But he's got kind of a troubled past. Like, he was a street urchin that was like captured and sold, and then he's escaped. But then as he grew up, he became a prostitute, and then he left that to get into the criminal game. So he's just a generally dark guy, and that's why he's haunted and unstable.
Yes.
So then he goes out on these scores just trying to feel something again, and he definitely felt a lot of stress and third-degree electrostatic burns.
It seems like he did. I'd say right now he's probably nursing his wounds, and Pontiac, who already normally looks a little odd, is now like, all over him. He has like these weird burns that are kind of in like kind of a lightning shape. Yeah. And the thing about them is that they just look like scar tissue normally, but sometimes when the lights are really low, they like faintly glow. That's what these burns are like. Yeah.
So cool.
Not really great if you're like trying to sneak into a place in the dark though. So Pontiac is fucked up for to get to the point. And how's Marco doing? Tell me about Marco Coyle.
Oh gosh. I mean, like we said, he took some electro damage also by deflecting some of the power juice, some of the electro slime that was blasting at us on his hand. So he got a nasty burn that he's probably like wrapping up old-timey boxer style, while taking glances in the mirror just to make sure that everything's still in shape.
Yeah.
And, but he's got he came into the affair with one trauma, which is a vicious trauma. I think something tells me that coming across the waves and coming into these little wharves and inlets as a Dagger Isles immigrant doesn't make you too popular maybe among folks. And I think that maybe some of these houseboats that they came in on got attacked, burned, or sunk, and
right.
And he had to fight to keep his family from getting drowned and attacked, and maybe went a little too far.
I love that, and I think that you guys are a smuggling crew. You're smugglers. Maybe that's how Marco ended up as a smuggler. He was initially smuggled into the city, right? Sounds like that's the story you were weaving there. What I'll tell him is that his hand, you made a lot of. We talked about how he blocked the shot of electro slime with his hand. Now that's his punching hand, man.
Yeah,
it's like a little burnt. It hurts a little more every time he breaks the nose bone of someone he's having a problem with. He's having a little issue with his hand. He's probably kind of flexing it or something there in the hideout. And finally, Archibald Gray, the mastermind, the brains of the operation. How are you doing?
Well, part of being the brains of the operation is you don't take no hits, mate. You stay in the back. Let the dumb people do the hard work. I didn't take any harm in that crazy, because I happened to roll a 6 on the resistance at the very end of the bomb exploding.
Yeah, that's right.
Got very lucky, got out of the way. So no harm, but man, is he stressed. I mean, I guess masterminding just makes you like he is at 8 of 9 stress. So like one more stress and he was done for the opera or for the score.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, he's got to keep so many factors in his mind at once, and I think that a couple times he was like making group roles with like, people failing and giving him extra stress.
Yeah, and I feel like the flashback mechanic is obviously you can spread it around easily, but I think it falls on the spider a lot. Because like you're the one who has connections and can easily use like the consort ability and stuff like that to like say you got the things you needed for a given moment. And so I used at least 4 to 6 stress on that, maybe 4 to 5.
Well, that's that makes sense, and it's that the spider would take a lot of the brunt of that, and I think that he's just feeling completely unraveled, like he's exhausted, he's fatigued, he's having a little more trouble concentrating than he normally would. You guys are back in the game. That score saved your crew from being completely wiped off of Doskvol's underworld map, but I mean, it cost you everything to make it happen. It
must have been why we were so suicidal.
Right. Yeah, it must have been why pretty Marco Coyle decided to fist fight a giant ghost that had 40 arms.
Come here, you son of a gun.
He's trained to punch a ghost out.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's give some XP out. So you get an XP for every desperate action you take during the game. I think that came out to about 2 for each of you, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you each should get 2 XP just for gameplay. And then I want to know if your playbook specific trigger gave you an XP. So each of you should have a playbook specific trigger. And I'm just going to look at yours right now.
Mine is if you addressed a challenge with deception or influence. And I think I did at the train station. When we first came up there, I said something to the guard. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm pretty sure it was a successful roll because in my head I was like, did it. Got my XP.
That's right. And you know what? It doesn't even matter if you were successful as long as you addressed a challenge, it says in the book. So you do get an XP for that. Pontiac. Marco, did you hit your XP trigger? I think you did. Yeah. Because yours is pretty straightforward.
Desperate action. Yeah.
You
addressed the challenge with violence.
Yes.
And yes, I believe tried to punch a ghost falls into that category.
Great. And what about Archibald? Did you hit that XP trigger?
I think so. It says you addressed a challenge with calculation or conspiracy, and I think that procuring maybe those blueprints of the train ahead of time might count, something along those lines.
Absolutely, it does. So that's 3 XP for everybody at this point. I'm just keeping the running total, and then finally, not finally. There's actually 2 more ways for your character to get an XP. And the way it works is there's this little bar. I'm going to show the crew sheet in a minute, which is similar, but like this little bar, and you just mark an XP, and then when it fills up, you turn it into an advance. So we'll kind of see how that works in a little bit with the crew. But did you guys express your beliefs, drives, or heritage during the game? Wait. Ooh. Oh, by the way, like you guys haven't played with me as a GM a lot. Sometimes I'm like, no, that doesn't sound like you did that. In other words, I'm sometimes a piece of shit. So let me know if you think you did that, because if you did and you can make an argument for it, I'll be like, absolutely, and give you that XP. But if you didn't,
does it count at the end in the sort of vignettes
epilogue?
At the end? The epilogue, when I went and addressed a fellow sex worker, kind of like tied into my heritage at all. Not my heritage, but my background. Does that count?
Absolutely, it does. I think that absolutely does. Yes.
I don't know so much XP. I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
In my shelf for all this XP.
Full of XP.
Your Honor, may I make the case that
yes.
I think the forged work order that I got from one of my connections at the House of Ill Repute, who'd been sleeping with some of the customs officials. I think that was using my background as a security for sex workers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you said that you're kind of like not the pimp, but like the guard for the bouncer that goes along with the stripper.
Right? Exactly.
Just make the muscle.
No
okay.
Touch,
I'll accept that.
Yeah.
But wait, did that express? Oh, it expresses your
background?
Heritage, your background. Yeah, absolutely, great. And then Archibald, what do we think?
Let me pitch this one to you, Chad.
Okay, all right.
I think I'm also.
I might say no. Remember that.
That's fine. That's fine. I do think this. See, again, it comes in the epilogue where I think that we had more of an opportunity to express our personal beliefs, drives, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so he went to the track, and this is a little tease of what I have come for tonight, but he goes to the track, and we just sort of fudged it, and you were like, I'll do a luck roll, a fortune roll,
right,
to see how much money he wins, and you crit if you rolled 2 6s, and I was like, overjoyed. Yeah. And the first thing that he did, and this was sort of a callback, because it's a small thing, but it's important to him, is I said, I'm going to buy a new suit. And I had mentioned earlier on that he had a suit that was once like designer, but you can see it's like frayed around the edges and a little ratty. And he's like a poser, and people can tell. And he is intent, like one of his drives is to like get himself back into this like high society horse racing vibe. But he knows like he can't do it until he gets like a pair of shoes and a good looking suit. And so I don't know. I think he expressed there like there's a depth to his thinking about how he has to advance. And now that his crew's been all knocked down, it's like small moves, little things. You have to appear, if you're a spider, as if you're better than you are.
Joe, I love that so much. And, here's the deal I'm going to make with you. He won a bunch of money. He bought the top of the line suit. The deal I want to make with you is he doesn't have the money from that win anymore because he spent it all on the suit, but 2 XP.
Ooh, all right. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I'm going to give you that.
Yeah.
And then,
okay, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
No, you know what? I just want to bring up something. I want to add another. I want to sweeten the deal, but I don't want to jump ahead. I'll bring it up. No, I'll bring it up later when we get into downtime, and I'll pose it then.
Okay, great. So the final way you can earn XP for your character is if you struggled with issues from your vice or trauma. And I thought back and I watched a little of the show, and the traumas are there to play or not play. Did we struggle with issues from them? I don't know that we did.
I'll say for my part, no, because I thought about it too, and I definitely used my trauma twice because he's reckless. And I took the devil's bargain with the ghost, and I went up on the train top first when we all thought it was going to be like electrified or something, and there was a burnt corpse up there. And I was like, I'll go. Give me a little more of the cut because he's reckless. But both times, it totally worked out for him. So
it worked out well.
I don't think you get the XP for those.
No, I don't think so because it's
my
about
guess.
Struggling. Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but I remember us making a joke about I did something. It was like, well, he's unstable.
That's true.
I can't remember what the moment was.
So,
I can't remember, and you guys.
I can't either. You know what? I'm gonna keep moving. I'm gonna keep moving. So now we're gonna look at our crew, and the first thing I want to do is, we never gave our crew a name. Does anybody have an idea for what they'd like to call it, or should we? Explore that as we play today, and I'll make sure to come back to it. But or do you guys
cover the name as we do this?
Okay, great. All right,
I have nothing on top of mind. I'm not in a rush.
Okay, no problem. So
let's let it come.
And maybe the chat has some ideas as we play, or if you saw the first episode of our crossover here, let us know what you think a cool name would be for this crew, and maybe that will be the name.
Just popped into my head the tin whistles. I don't know what it means. Literally, that phrase just popped into my head.
It certainly explains why no one's afraid of them in their tier 0.
Yeah.
Look out, guys!
Never cross the tin whistles.
They're high pitched, I tell you.
I don't know why. It's just we'll leave it out there if by the end we don't have anything. We got the fall back.
Hey guys, that's the one to beat. There are no bad ideas.
There are no bad ideas.
Who can beat the tin whistles? Yes. Wow. I mean, the thing that's really funny to me is at the end of the show tonight, that will be the name. But okay, here we go.
Beat it.
So
beat it, chat.
The crew as a whole gets XP as well, and when you get enough XP, you can get an advance for your crew. Now, as smugglers, you guys started out with a vehicle, and you know what? I mean, as a evil game master that I am, I made the vehicle, I think, fun but a little janky. It's like the Choo Choo Boys. Yep, that beats the tin whistles in a way. It was kind of like one of those like rail carts, but it's a kind of a cooler, steampunkier version of it, right? It goes faster, but it's kind of like one of those that you have to pump to kind of move along the rails. And with your hideout in the old abandoned rail car, it makes sense. You guys have access to all the rails that run through the city of Doskvol and out past the lightning barriers, out into the Deathlands. That's what you can access with this vehicle. And actually, at one point it got like kind of strangely possessed by the ghost of a little girl from a village out in the Deathlands. She's now running around in the city somewhere. You kind of brought her back in. That was the focus of a Devil's Bargain last session. But that's the upgrade you have now. You have this vehicle that is it's got two it has a flaw and it has like an edge, right? And its edge is that it's simple. It's very easy to repair, but its flaw is that it's distinctive. Not a lot of people have one of these weird vehicles and is using them to like slide around the rails of the city. So if people see you on it, they tend to remember that they saw it. But now let's get into the XP. So that's the advance you already have, and we're kind of trying to eventually get you to have more advances. You get 1 XP if you executed a smuggling operation. You did. Let's give you an XP for that. In fact, Clint, can we bring up the old sheet? Do you mind? We have the crew sheet here.
Oh yeah, I was wondering. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and so let's go down to where the XP goes in there. Let's see here. I think it's at the bottom, right?
These sheets are like their own mini game.
They really are. I mean, the whole game today. Oh no, it's on that first page somewhere. Well, anyway, here I'll find it for you.
Wow, look at that.
I think it might be over to the right, my friend, possibly. Yeah, like look at that. It even shows you where your territory lies.
Yeah. Under the word smugglers.
Yeah, there it is. Besides special abilities. So let's give them an XP. Yeah, that's the ticket. Let's give them an XP for that. For executing it. Beautiful. Yes, please. So then you get an XP if you contended with a challenge above your station. You guys didn't really move against a different faction per se, but you did contend with the Ministry of Preservation, who I explained are very careful and very watchful of the people that go in and out of the city. They're sort of like the border guards. They're basically the people that make sure that Doskvol isn't destroyed by an invasion of undead. So you did kind of trick them, and you did kind of use them roughly with you got schematics from them and work orders, and you really tangled with them. So I'm going to give you an XP for that as well. They're way above your station. I think they're like tier 4 or 5. Now, did you bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one? That's the next thing you can get crew XP for. Guys, I just told you, your crew was about to be down and out, completely washed away by the various combats and underworld maneuvering of Doskvol, but you're back. You're back in business, so I'm giving you an XP for that.
Yes.
Now, here's the one I don't know about. Did you express the goals, drives, or inner nature of your crew? I don't know. Tell me, what do you think?
Boy.
I think absolutely, because we had, ballpark 6 desperate actions, a crew that is comprised of people really bogged down with trauma. I mean, we have no healthy members.
Yeah.
And so we've been beaten down and we're desperate. And I think that the way that we approached that whole heist was like, we have nothing to lose. Like, I feel like that's part of our vibe, is like, we truly have nothing to lose. And so fist fighting a ghost, trying to negotiate, like smuggling a ghost into the city with no attune ability, making a bomb and blowing it up in our own faces just to possibly survive in front of this ghost. I don't know, to me, all of it points to like desperate actions. And if I was another crew, I think a desperate crew is a scary crew.
What a great answer. Give him a point of XP for that. Clint, our secret game master, is filling in the sheet for us. Oh, look at that. Half full. You're halfway to an advance.
Wow.
So that's kind of fun. All right. We are going to put that sheet away for just a little bit while I talk about your payout. Now, last time at the end of the job, I told you that your crew had earned 10 coin. And then Troy, who had read the book a little more closely in that section, was like, that's a crazy amount.
Yeah. You know what it equates to? Like if you were like a New York City crew That's like pulling off a job for like $650,000. Like
Yeah.
that's basically what it was. It says it's like the deed to a decent house. It like
It's true. It's just true. But here's the thing. I looked it up and it really, the book also agreed with me that was way too much. And guess what else? I'm letting you keep it. I just feel like a GM, if he gives money, shouldn't then take money away with GM fiat. So you are going to keep that 10 coin. You do owe your contact Squint.
That's right. That's
two of
right.
that coin. So that brings it down to 8. Here's Squint. She wants her cut, man. She's beautiful too. I really, there she is.
Let's talk her down to 1 so it's an even split.
Oh, do you really want to do that? I think that is so fun. Why don't we say
that's our only argument? Like,
she looks like someone who's really open to a compromise, doesn't she?
She looks reasonable enough with that giant scar over her eye. Sure, she was born with that.
Squint shows up at the hideout and she's got her cigarette and she's like,
All right. Let me see the coin I earned. I sent you out there. You guys made a big score. Give me what I'm owed.
and how do you talk her down? I think that it's a fine idea to even roll to do that. So what are you going to use to talk her down?
I have to use some sway, I think.
Yeah, it sounds
Gotta
like
get
it's
a little
our
sway.
our slides idea. So our slide should use, you could consort with her. You could be chummy with her and kind of like, in a friendly way, convince her she doesn't need all this coin. You could command her. But actually, the cool thing about Blades of the Dark is you can use any skill on your sheet. So if one of you was good at attuning to the ghost field, you could somehow use that to try to convince her she doesn't need, a full 2 coin. So tell me what you're doing.
I'm thinking along the lines of like, we almost died and we're ready to leave the score. But we decided to risk our lives to finish it. And thankfully, we were able to pull it off. So we'll give you your cut, but just 1 coin, not 2.
All right. So you're kind of making the case to her that you're the ones that took the risk here and she took none. All she did is tell you a ghost story, basically, about some abandoned train out in the Deathlands. You're thinking that's sway. Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I have is sway. We're trying to just let her know
You
that,
got
like,
some sway.
you're lucky you're even getting
sway.
it.
Let me look at sway, Troy. Let me see if that would work.
That's fair. Let me take a look at it myself.
Yeah, let's both look at it.
This is why people come a read off.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I got it. Yeah. So I think that you influence someone with guile, charm, or argument, and that's exactly what you were just talking about as argument.
Yeah.
So I think that you can definitely use sway, and I think that Squint is not a big operator in the city. She's probably, honestly, you guys know that she's probably happy to get a coin. So I'm going to say that this is a controlled.
Awesome. So like based on her reputation, that's cool.
Yeah. So I think it's time. I think it's time for Pontiac, who's covered in these weird burns.
Now I'm using this as part of my argument. I'm like, look at my face. Marco's hand.
Look at my face.
I'd say that's 1 coin's worth of trouble right there.
Right. We got to pay for all the plastic surgery.
Great. Give us a roll. Roll your sway. How many dice do you have in your sway?
I have 2 points in sway. So
okay. So the highest die is going to determine. A 6 is great. 2 6s is a critical hit or a critical success. A 4 or 5 means you succeed with complications or consequences, and a 1 to 3 means you failed.
Come on, boxcars.
Yep.
6.
Yes, dude.
And a 1.
Yes.
Boxcars, baby.
Opposite boxcars.
That's Doskvol boxcars.
That's
Put
what.
Put it on the board next to Tin Whistle.
She takes. Someone suggested the third rail. I think that's pretty good.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
Um,
good. That's more
I like
hardcore.
that.
that's real good.
Tin rail.
The tin rail. So she takes her coin and she's like, "Yeah, all right. So, yeah, go see a physical, would you? You look disgusting." She pockets her coin and she heads out, a little disgruntled, but yeah, I mean that was actually pretty friendly for Squint, what she just said to you. So
Yeah. Should also clarify on the scale of the game, a coin is a week's worth of wages.
yeah.
So, we just gave her a week's worth of wages. That's not too bad.
It's pretty good. And now
It's
we have 3
excellent.
coin each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you had rolled, that there was a consequence, it might have been that she wouldn't help you out anymore, wouldn't give you intel anymore, or it could have been a number of things. But I think she's still kind of in your information network. So keep her in mind, later if you need some info or you need someone to help you out with a job. All right. So that leaves our payout at 9 coin, and I think you guys can either divide it up or keep it in kind of a community chest. But it sounded like you were going to divide it up.
I mean, that was my obviously we can help each other out, but coin plays a big part in adjusting dice rolls here in Downtime. It can mean the difference between healing and not healing, taking away stress and not taking away stress. So yeah, we might as well just leave it out for the community.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Okay, so that's how you guys run your gang. I mean, that's pretty democratic. That's pretty nice. All right.
Yeah.
So then that's our payout. So now we're gonna look at your rep. And rep is we're going to see if you've gained any prestige among Doskvol's criminals. Now, no one saw you take the cargo from the wrecked train, but when you got back and you were selling these barrels of electroplasm, I want to know, did you talk about the score? Did you tell people how you got it? Did you tell your buyers where it was coming from? Did you tell them what you went through? And that's a yes or a no, and you might want to consider it. If your crew is very secretive, maybe they didn't. But if they like to build that rep, maybe they did.
Well, let me just 2 things.
Yeah.
One, my gut is yes. Yes, like we tell people this stuff because we're trying to grow our reputation. And we want people to come to us for jobs. But
we tell people it's marketing.
Right. But 2, and I don't know if this carries over from score to score, Jared, you tell me, but we have a clock with the Ministry of Preservation. And I don't know if that carries over or if it's just like score by score and it's cleared after the score. I'm not sure what the mechanics are intended to be, but it might be that we have to get a clock, on the score with the Ministry of Preservation. I don't know.
Either way, it could be heat if it gets to if the information travels to the wrong people.
That's right. There's another mechanic we're about to get into called heat, which is how much the authorities are aware of you and looking for you. And Troy, yes, very astute. It probably will affect your heat if you guys are kind of open and kind of loud about it. I mean, but Marco makes a good point too. It's marketing. It's it gets you other jobs. It lets people know what you're capable of. So
seems that if we wanted to be good marketing, we might not be as loose-lipped as to tell everybody, but to tell the sort of person that would hit us up for work.
If we got to take a little heat, so be it.
Very well.
The only other thing that I'll add to that character-wise is I think that Archie might be a little more on the secretive end because I think he's more concerned with, rather than being an underworld, lord of the underworld, he's sort of more focused on being a legitimate member of society at some point. And so he's just trying to get money to get influence and make friends and meet people and stuff like that. So I don't think he wants the people that he's around. He wants to be the guy who can get you things, but he doesn't necessarily want to be well known. Now that doesn't mean that I think just because the crew is well known doesn't have to be known that Archibald is in that crew. You know what I mean? The name could be whispered, but they might not know who's in the crew necessarily. I don't know. Just
I hear you.
No, I mean, it sounds like, Archibald's really campaigning for a slightly more secretive approach, whereas the other two are kind of like, no, we've got to let people know what we did. So I think there's enough tweakability in this game that we can go for a kind of half approach. Is that what people would prefer? Do you want to compromise right now? Or Marco and Pontiac could say, no, I'm telling people. When I'm out on the street, I'm telling people, and Archibald's just going to be annoyed with me.
I mean, at this moment, as we're selling the stuff, I think Marco will be like, I'll be mum. Yeah, I don't say a word, except for the people that'll come around and hire us again. Now, as to what I say later, hard for me to make promises, considering my vice is stupor. So who knows what the loosened tongue of pretty Marco Coyle will blab.
Well, let's look at your crew sheet, because I think it sounds like everybody's kind of saying, like, I'm kind of trying to keep it to criminal contacts and not just sort of like brag about it in a bar. So let's look at the crew sheet and let's add. I think if you're doing that, I think that's going to limit you to 2 rep. But yeah, there you go. And so rep,
cool.
Rep allows you to do all kinds of things. I think that it eventually will move your crew into a higher tier, which means your equipment will get better. Your jobs, the things that are offered to you will get better, but also the opposition that you face will get tougher. Now let's look at heat, because that's the other thing we have to determine. Are the authorities aware of what you did? Well, let's look, because I think you get 0 heat for your exposure, because you were out of the city with no eyes on you.
Yeah, no witnesses.
Yeah. No witnesses. But you have that distinctive vehicle. It's your vehicle's flaw. That's the flaw that we gave the vehicle.
That's right.
And people remember your weird rail runner moving through the biggest rail station in Doskvol. So let me give you a point of heat for that.
Damn it.
And then it looks like you didn't really brag about it. You didn't really brag about it. You kind of kept it to criminal context. You kept it quiet because of Archibald urging you to do so. So I'm not going to give you another level of heat for kind of being braggadocious or being, kind of like really open about how you pulled it off. So
I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but there's a vice mechanic where if you overindulge on your vice, you do exactly that and you gain 2 heat.
Oh yeah, and
that's great. That's all built in.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
And one of my favorite, if your character takes too much trauma, trauma. Yeah, if your character takes too much trauma, they can't continue anymore, and they retire.
Yeah.
And one option is to send your character to prison to lower the heat of the crew. So they take the fall, but then that character's gone. That's it, and you have to play a new character now.
Right, and what's
so cool?
It's so amazing, and the prison also has like groups that you can manipulate, factions, and you can take turf inside the prison, so that every time when a member of your gang goes into the prison, he has like a loadout because he's smuggling like weapons in. So, I mean, it's really insanely cool. Right now you have 1 heat and you don't even have 1 wanted level. Every time you get 9 heat, it turns into a level of wanted, and then the authorities really start coming after you. You guys aren't wanted yet. So maybe you're going to work harder and, really make the blue coats crack down on you. But now we're going to find out about your entanglements. So your entanglements are, what are the favors, commitments, debts, and promises that affect your crew here in sort of the fallout of this last score? Your wanted level is still 0. So it says, roll a number of dice equal to your wanted level. Well, you don't have a wanted level. So you are instead going to roll 2 dice and keep the lowest result. And I have a little kind of random table here that's going to tell me what result comes up when you do this. And something interesting is going to happen to your crew involving the criminal underworld, their favors, commitments, debts, and promises.
Oh, cool.
This is interesting because now it's going to tie us really back into the world if we like pissed off another crew that was going to make that heist or something.
Oh yeah, and I want one of you to roll. I don't want to roll this in case it ends up being a real bad one.
Good luck, Ross.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Here we go. Oh,
Two
boy.
dice and give me the lowest result.
The lowest result of 2 6s.
You rolled
No.
yeah 2 6-sided.
Oh.
Yes.
My lowest result of 2 6-sided dice is a 5.
Oh,
five.
I
Okay.
roll a 6 and a 5.
All right. And then
I
I'm
wonder
gonna
if that's
do
good or
something.
bad. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So there is another gang that shares this sort of like rail yard with you. They're like on the other side of it. This is a vast.
The
this
second
used-
rail.
Well, yeah, the second round. No,
They're
they're actually called the Lost. And the Lost are this group. They're here in Coleridge with you. This rail yard that you're in is pretty vast. It used to be the main rail yard for Doskvol. Eventually, they built Gaddock Station, the new almost Art Deco-y, like beautiful chrome station that you moved out of the city through last time. And they left this old city, rocky, rusted rail yard to just rust in the weather. And there's a crew that lives on the other side of it that has been giving you problems. And here's why they're giving you problems. The Lost are very interesting. All right. They've all done horrible things in their former lives, and they believe they must atone for their sins. Each member keeps a pile of stones under their bed, one for each sin they balance with a just deed. These guys are almost like vigilantes. They're made up entirely of like former laborers and beggars, and they're not really like desperate evil men. They're more like do-gooders. And so the way the Lost have been giving you a problem is they have been talking up how you guys made this giant score and you haven't given any of it back to the people that made you, the beggars, the street people, the prostitutes. Like they're kind of saying that like now that you're back in the game, you've turned your back on like where you came from a little bit. They're claiming that they're like, the real downtrodden, and you guys are turning your back on the downtrodden. And so the effect of that has been lately that beggars and like really low-level laborers and like prostitutes and a lot of the people that you talk with and do business with are kind of giving you the cold shoulder. They think that you've gotten too big for your britches. They just don't want to see you raise yourselves up. And so that's just the entanglement that's kind of happening right now. They're kind of spreading rumors about you and making a lot of your information networks and your regular allies kind of less likely to help you out. And maybe in a little bit, you will want to deal with that in some way.
Seriously.
But in the meantime, we come to the bread and butter of Downtime, which is that your characters are going to get to choose your downtime activities. So downtime activities are things that you can do to heal yourself. I'm just going to read them off to you, and each of your characters can choose two activities to complete during this downtime phase of the game. And here they are. You can acquire an asset. This asset is temporary. It's something you can use for like one job or one session or one story. It might be an expert or a gang. It might be a vehicle, or it could be a service like the use of a warehouse, legal representation, an exorcist to get rid of a ghost that's troubling you. That's one, acquire asset. The next one is really open-ended, but this is like so fun. This is the thing that I would pick every time. It's called long-term project. Long-term project means this is the part where you get to go, where do I want my character to get eventually? Or how do I want him to affect the city and the world? So it could be something like researching an arcane ritual, investigating a mystery, establishing trust with an NPC, courting a new friend or contact, or changing your character's vice. Maybe you got a little tired of maybe Marco Coyle gets into a 12-step program. Who knows? So that's what a long-term project would be, and that one's very open-ended. You're kind of telling me where you want the game to go by what you choose if you choose that activity. The next one is recover. That's seeking treatment to heal your harm, electrical burns, for example. And for obvious reasons, it's pretty important. Next is reduce heat. You can reduce your heat. You guys only have one heat right now, so I would be surprised if you pick this one, but you can take actions to kind of get the authorities to leave you alone. You can train your character, and that allows you to mark XP on your XP track. And then finally, the one that we've already mentioned a couple times, you can indulge your vice. And when you indulge your vice, you take stress off your sheet. We've mentioned to the people watching that once that stress meter fills up and Archibald's is almost full, you gain another trauma. So it's important to indulge your vice. What is your vice, each of you?
Sex,
pleasure, right?
Yep.
Yours was marked as
jam.
pleasure, yeah. And how about you, Marco Coyle? Stupor. That's right.
Said, yeah.
So that means drugs or alcohol, something that makes the pain go away.
Mhm.
And Archibald Gray, what is your vice?
Gambling.
Right,
On the
exactly.
horses. Gambling on the horses.
Those are your options if you decide to indulge your vice. So I leave it to you guys. You can each pick two. Who knows right away what they'd like to do?
I do. I'm gonna recover and indulge my vice.
Okay, great.
Because if you have trauma and you don't indulge your vice, you take stress equal to your trauma.
Oh, wow, that's
Wow.
right. Yeah, that's right. So you kind of almost have to indulge your
So
vice.
yeah, so you just kind of snowball. Like once you start getting traumas and your vice, they combine to just, oh, that's bad.
You may choose the same activity more than once, according to page 153. So if you get done indulging your vice and you still haven't gotten rid of all the stress you'd like to, let me know if you'd like to do it again. But okay, so you're indulging your vice of pleasure, and tell me how you do that and what purveyor are you using?
Well, it's funny. I have contacts and or sly friends, and you have positive relationship and a negative relationship. And my negative relationship is with a prostitute named Nerix, so I can't go to her.
That's not necessarily true. I mean, you don't have to. Certainly, your character can decide where Pontiac wants to go, but maybe you could go to her, and something interesting would result. But she doesn't like you.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's also less enemy, maybe, and more rival. I think it's probably a better word for like what the down arrow is in the Sly Friends. It's sort of like a rival relationship.
Well, it's certainly gonna be a more interesting story. So I'll go to her.
Great. So
I don't want to pay for it.
You don't want to pay.
Right.
Okay. Well, I mean, it makes sense to me also, Troy. I mean, like, I know I'm like, I'm shifting back and forth. It makes sense to me also that Pontiac might avoid her. I mean, like, you can define it as a rival, but maybe you do define it as an enemy. You hate her. So right. I think, let's do this. I think
a complicated relationship.
It's a complicated relationship. You go to another brothel where they occasionally give you like a freebie because you know the people there. Maybe you said you are a former prostitute, so
right.
Maybe you worked with them.
I know the scene
at one point, and they're on hard times, man. Like the place used to be full. There used to be a lot of like young guys from and young ladies also from like the better parts of town, but now it's kind of empty, and the whores on display selling their wares. They look sick. They look like they've been taking a little too many drugs, and the place is looking rough. Now, you can find out maybe what's caused this sort of downturn in business, but maybe you indulge your vice first.
Yeah, I think I do that, and it's really for him at this point. It's not about the act; it's about the time afterwards, where he can talk to these people and have a real conversation, because he feels like he can't do that with his fellow tin whistles.
Okay.
Really pushing the tin whistles.
He just doesn't have that kind of relationship with them.
The third rail is a great name, but it does look like it's leaning toward tin whistles right now.
We can combine them. The tin rail.
By the way, the tin whistle is on the menu of this brothel, but it costs extra.
I'll take the tin whistle.
I'll have the tin whistle, please. So
from your oldest whore.
You're gonna roll your lowest attribute.
This is brutal. So that's insight, which I don't have any attribute points in.
So that's one. One die, right?
You get one die.
No, that's 2d6, and you take the lesser.
Is that what it is? That's what I thought.
Oh, okay. Normally, you would clear stress equal to the highest die roll result for indulging a vice. I wonder if it does change. If you have nothing, make an attribute roll using your character's lowest rating if there's a tie. You know what? I think because this is indulging a vice, it doesn't work like an action roll would, where you do as Joe just said. I think in this case you do roll just the attribute rating one die. Let's see, you have 0, right?
0, yeah. And it's funny because I saw something like earlier about 0D, what you get.
And I wonder if it's the same
in Downtime.
Yeah. Clint, do you know this, Bernhard?
Maybe somebody in the chat knows. This is so important.
It's clutch for him because my stress is going to really carry me in. You want to be able to use stress in these missions, and I won't be able to.
Right. I think it does make sense now that I think about it. I was trying to kind of give you the benefit of the doubt, but it's starting to make sense if you have 0 to roll the 2 dice and take the lowest. But I want to make sure we have that completely right. So
indulge vice, 0 attributes. Blades in the dark. Come on, Google. Show me what you got.
If you ever need to roll, this is the exact quote. Okay. But you have 0. You roll 2 dice and take the single lowest result. You can't roll a critical when you have 0 dice. Yeah, man.
The thing is, can you push on a roll to indulge your vice?
No, I think the only thing I can do is spend coin. Like it
wouldn't make sense to take stress to relieve stress.
That's true.
So
because you could spend a coin to increase the result.
Yeah. So if you ever need to roll, I think based on the letter of the game, you're going to roll 2 dice right now, and you're going to take the lowest number you get, and that's how much stress you're going to relieve.
Yeah, it says for any downtime activity, take +1d to the roll if a friend or contact helps you. I think this is a solo mission.
Yeah. I read that and I was like, I'm not going in that room.
I'm already getting it for free. It's not like I can.
Archibald, could you come and help me ejaculate?
I really need some help. It's a long story. All right, come on, 5 and a 6 or 2 6s. 2 2s. You know what? It's not the end of the world.
It's not a 1.
It's not a 1.
Yeah. So you got 2 stress relieved from your visit, and this is delicate. I'm talking to Troy Antiponiak, but I just kind of want to know a little bit about what happened, and you can be as detailed or as vague as you like.
It's over pretty fast. I'll tell you that much. I think he's still hyped up. He thought he was going to die.
Oh, man.
Not but 24. This is way better than I thought, by the way. The way I imagined it. Less than 24 hours ago, he thought it was over. He was staring at the face of this apparition and saw his life flash in front of his eyes. He thought he was going to die. He thought his buddies were going to die. That's more.
That's more.
Now I'm just sad.
That's actually our madam.
Good.
That's actually our madam. Her name is Clem. But I interrupted you, or rather, this beautiful vision interrupted you. He saw his life flash before his eyes, and then
he needed to do a life affirming activity, and that's what this was. But like, he just all that pent up, it was over pretty quickly, and so the rest of the time was spent just telling this young woman about his exploits, bragging, if you will, a little bit about what a hero he is, and the big score. And
so he did.
Can't wait to get back out there. Yeah.
And how much stress did he have altogether? And he's relieved 2 of it.
He had 6, so now he's down to 4.
All right. So now we see the downtime game can be a tough game, right?
Yeah. And she's tracing her fingers along his electrostatic burns while she listens, and he's in.
Yeah. She's actually like, I think it looks beautiful. And you're like, she's on something.
She's indulging in her vice.
Later, you're talking to Clem, the madam, who from back in your days when you did the job that you just took advantage of, the service you just used, and Clem is telling you like, they're ruining us. So
who?
Nyrix.
Oh,
She brought in boatfuls of these Taikarosi gals. I think she pays them nothing. They're illegally in the city. They don't know their way around. They depend on her. I'm working with girls who've been here a while. They expect a certain wage, and I give it to them because I appreciate what they do. You and I, we used to do it. We know what it's like, but I just can't compete with Nyrix's operation anymore. I mean, I tell you, if someone doesn't put her out of business, I can't compete with these Taikarosi. They got the violet skin and the feather hair. I mean, there's a lot of up-to-do gentlemen that they're looking for that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I'm Taikarosi, but I understand what you're saying. We're an ill lot. It's Nyrix. What kind of reputation does she have?
It's growing. She used to be one of us, but she started to take over all the business in the city. I mean, we got people coming from Char Hollow. We got people coming from other cities to go to her place.
Well, maybe she needs a visit from the Tin Whistle.
Oh God!
I mean, could you have
better?
That's the least intimidating sentence I've ever heard.
That's what you guys went with?
We're still working on the name, but
I think I would keep working on it.
Right. Well, it was on your menu. That's what made me think of it.
Yeah. Well, you know what that is, right?
I know. I understand what it is when my crew does it. So that's between you and me, Clem. I will bring it to the other men in my crew, and perhaps there's something we can do. You've always been good to me, Clem. If there's anything I can do to repay you, I will.
I love you, honey. And if you can help me out in any way, you know that there's a freebie on the menu for you.
Thank you. I can always count on you for really terrible sex.
Actually, when you have sex with Clem, she just does she is kind of very, very rough with you, and then keeps saying uncomfortable things like "You're in control. You're in control. You're in control."
He's got kind of a Mrs. Garrett thing going from life too.
All right, let's talk to one of our where are one of our other scoundrels? What are they off doing? Let me know what Marco Coyle is up to.
I think he wants to indulge in some vice after a caper well done. So
too.
I think maybe because he's so flush with coin, wouldn't go to the accustomed watering holes that he used to. This maybe is from my ignorance, having not read deeply in the lore. Are there now there are, I'm sure, bars where I can find all the finest spirits and back alleys where I could procure all the weirdest powders and potions. But are there supernatural drugs?
Oh, there are many.
So great. I'd like to go to a den of that sort.
Great. So you talk to Esme, Esme is the owner of the End of the Line, who kind of like hooked you guys up with Squint. And you talk to her like, where can I find like the weird stuff, you know? And she points you to the docks, where there is a completely nondescript little gray building. You got to go around back because it's all boarded up in the front. And when you get to the back, you enter into what is essentially like the Doskvol version of a crack house. And you see guys like laying on the floor. They've set up mats for people. It's an old warehouse that they've kind of repurposed as a drug den. There are guys laying on mats. Some of them have their clothes half off. There are people in the corner like rocking back and forth, but all of them have something weird going on, like their eyes are rolling back in their head, or one guy who's like jabbering to himself. You can see that like a little bit of like electrical current is running between his two fingers. Yeah, there they are.
Oh my
Look
god!
at how well they're doing.
Right, yeah, well, of course, I'll have what he's having.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. How much trauma do you have? How many levels of trauma have you taken?
A man walks up, and at first you think he's going to ask you for a fix. He looks like one of the users. But when he gets near you, he goes, "Yeah, what do you have?"
But that all depends on what's on the menu there, old boy. What's
I got Quick, I got Spark, and I got the Black Lotus.
Stop everything. Tell me what you know about the Black Lotus.
So you may have tried it before, or you may not have, but the Black Lotus is a tar-like resin that you smoke. It's made from the leaves of the plant, the Black Lotus, not available in this part of the empire. This plant induces coma-like stupor and visions.
Well, that sounds like it's about to fit the bill. Yeah.
Yes, you sit down beside this guy, and he passes you this tenor saxophone, which is actually an elaborate steampunk pipe.
Great. It plays Songbird by Kenny G, and then
the smell of the Black Lotus. You know, it's a tar, but the smell, you feel like you're in the jungle. Like, you get a whiff of it, and it's like you can just see the flower opening, on some kind of, and of course the sun has been destroyed 500 years ago. So in some dark, purple, pink-hued sky beyond it, some black flower opening, and it's time for you to take a little puff, my friend.
Okay, great. I just kind of turned to this guy and was like, you already rid the rails once today, my friend. Now it's time to take another little ride and just take a rip.
I love that line. You can now roll as our friend Pontiac did, your lowest score, and your.
Ooh, look how she breaks down.
Oh,
wow!
No.
It's just not enough. It's just not enough. But let me describe to you exactly what you see. Marco, what would you actually? I want you to roll something.
Okay.
What would you roll when you're in when you're in your visions? Like, does he look for visions, or does he look for just blackout? Like, where does his mind go when he's in one of these stupors?
Okay. Yeah. The happy place, I think, would be. How dark should this be? Like,
it should be dark,
very dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's. I think. Left the Dagger Isles as a little kid, and I remember and that was the last time life wasn't hard. So I remember back there, like grandparents singing the old songs in the old tongue, pottage bubbling on on the fire, and I just want to go back to the old country, and
I fucking love it.
and just be wrapped in the Book of Kel's coils of the old country.
I love it. That's what happens. And from the outside, you're just smelling that pottage. I mean, inside your head, you're smelling that pottage. You're with your grandparents. You're singing the old songs. And from the outside, like Marco's just like singing really loudly in the middle of this drug house, like just singing away, singing. If someone were to walk in right now, Marco probably would look a little like those guys that our friend Clint just threw up on the screen, but just singing his heart out, Now, when he gets done, does Marco hang around? Does he go for another dip? Does he, tell me what his process is after this? Because I think that what happens is suddenly Marco's like, like done singing. And he realizes he's been asleep for a while, and he looks around, and it's now pretty quiet inside this place. And a lot of the guys are asleep. And it's not quite the wild party that it was when he arrived, like in the middle of the evening. So perhaps the night has moved on for many hours.
Cool. I think I might want to score some for later. And so just to be clear, though, that one I got just takes one of my stresses off.
Right. And how much stress did you have altogether?
I had 4, so now I got 3.
Okay.
So I think I'll just go on there for the road, and tuck that in my jacket. And I don't know if you want to move on after this, but if there's a personal project I think I'd like to work on, or
we can stick with you for a second. What's your personal project?
I'm okay. This is coming in fits and starts, but I think as far as this his sort of like far and away immigrant's tale, I think when his folk got to Doskvol, they were used by some company at the docks. Unbeknownst, they didn't kind of know the ins and outs of it. They were all hired by this shipping company to just work as stevedores. What they didn't know is that they were breaking a strike, and the stevedores who were on strike retaliated against the folks who took their jobs.
Yeah,
and they burned a lot of our houseboats, and they killed some of my kin. And I know who the ringleader, the Hoffa of the strike gang was, and I'd love some vicious revenge.
So you know who he is, and you want to kind of how are you going?
I just said I know who he is. Maybe I don't know who he is. I just want, I want some payback. I want to even a score.
Great. I'm gonna start a clock for you, and this clock is gonna be called. It's gonna be called Case the Oxbacks. The Oxbacks are what these stevedores are called, and it's actually not their formal name, like that the city uses. It's like their little secret society inside of their union, right?
Great.
And you know that like they're almost like half cult, like they're like very like Freemasony, and they worship like these like calf idols, these like golden calf idols.
Awesome.
And you're gonna start casing them and trying to find out where they hide out, who their leader is. You're going to learn everything about them, because
it's the greatest game I've ever played.
Yeah.
We're playing this
amazing
for 20 weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
We have to see what happens with Pre-Marco's clock.
I'm not going to have you roll right now for your clock. I think we'll do that in a little bit. I think Marco heads out into the gray Doskvol morning.
Set me in the barley green.
Yeah.
Set me with my true love, and away he goes.
and he's working on his personal vendetta. I love it. And so now we will move over to Archibald Gray. Archibald, how are you going to start with your downtime activities?
Well, he's definitely gonna indulge in his vice. I've got so much stress. I can't even legitimately go on a score until I get this cleared up.
Yeah.
And so he's gonna indulge in his vice, which is gambling.
Right.
So so he goes to his
Char Hollow Downs, right?
Yeah, he goes to Char Hollow
racetrack.
Downs and to the bookmaker there, Lucius Dabbs.
Yeah.
And he brings Lucius. Let's say he turns up now. He's made a little bit of coin. He uses a very little bit of it to procure through a contact of Pretty Marco Coyle a little bit of quick. Did you call it quick? Is that what you said? Did you say one of the drugs was?
Yeah, quick is actually short for quicksilver. It's a toxic metallic fluid that opens the user's mind to the ghost field.
Yeah. So he procures a little quick. He folds it up in like a newspaper and brings it to Lucius because he knows he's into quick. And if you pay him off with a little bit of quick, you can get a tip on the upcoming races or whatever. So he does that to try to get an edge in his gambling. And he has a long relationship with this guy. He's been in debt. He's been out of debt. He's been they've known each other for years.
Well, if it isn't my favorite customer.
Amazing!
Fantastic.
Lucius,
Have you read the paper today? Have you read the sports section? You should.
No.
It's important for your job. And he hands over the paper.
I think it's
So
time
just
to
take a look.
He opens it up and he goes,
Good news. Good news.
who do you think looks good today, Gray?
Well, I was looking at that Pretty Ray.
Pretty Ray?
Looked
Yeah,
interesting. And top of the line. They say a
Top
lot
of
of
the
good
line?
things about top of the line.
Top of the
And,
line's looking good.
Of course, there's Tin Whistle, which holds a very special place in my heart.
Tin
But I don't want to bet with my heart, I want to bet with my head. I've already made too many mistakes with the heart.
Gray,
Stay away from Tin Whistle.
that old nag's
Whistle
on,
in the fifth.
That old nag's on her last legs. She's on her last legs.
It's not a horse boxing match, right, Troy? Like take Tin Whistle in the fifth.
Had too much quicksilver.
That's a whole different sport they do here.
It's a fantasy setting. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Who am I to say? You're right. Lack of
I was
imagination.
down for a little equestrian pugilism.
I tell you who, I got a new pony. Looking really good to me. Really good.
You don't say. He's looking around over his shoulder.
I killed your father.
That
I killed your father.
That sounds deadly.
Oh, he's deadly.
I killed your father. What's the odds on that one?
they're good. They're good. Well, I mean, it's going to pay out. Trust me on this one.
Right. Well, thanks, mate. I'll be back. And he'll put some money down on it.
Gray.
I appreciate the newspaper, but I wonder if maybe you could get me a different publication next time. I'm looking for something with a little more spark. Got a couple friends. Got a couple
Style
friends
section.
who would love to read it. Couple friends who would love to read it.
And
Style section. Yes.
yeah. And he immediately gets a little nervous because he brings us over a little bit, but he's not like a drug dealer. And he doesn't like dealing with drug dealers, and so he doesn't really want to start procuring things for other people that aren't Lucius on behalf of, you know what I mean? But he's like, just nods, but inside he's like, oh fuck.
And Lucius just says one more thing. He says, if someone brought a publication with Spark, he probably knows some guys who would buy all the copies.
Right. Well, that's something I will have to look into now, isn't it?
You do you.
Right. Okay. Awesome. And
the way Vice opens up opportunities for other scores because now we've already got like 9 things we could do.
Right.
Right.
I know. I see what you're doing, Jared. I see right through you. That's great. That's so great. I did not expect that. I didn't know that that's what would be happening. I thought at the end of the downtime, you'd be like, and someone comes to you and is like, are you the Tin Whistles who pulled off that amazing job? No, but instead, like, we're actually going to talk this out and like pick what we want to do next of these. Like, this is really cool.
Yes, and I just want to also put out there, I'm throwing out some things, but you saw that Ross just threw out something that was completely from him. So if you guys have something like that, there will be time for it. But at the moment, it's time for you. That starter pistol just went off. Oh, my God.
It's top of the line, off to an early lead. Here comes I Killed Your Father around the back tide.
The roar of the crowd. You're a true gambler, so it doesn't really matter if you win or lose. It's more about how much stress you relieve. So let's look at that. Let's make your roll. I believe you probably have a zero attribute as well, a 0 action roll.
No, Jared, you mistake me. I'm not one of these cretins. I'm a spider. I got to have my hands in everything.
That's
brilliant. So yeah, he's got a 1. He's got a 1.
So he doesn't have to take the lowest. He has to take whatever he rolls on this die.
Do you get a plus 1d for using a friend in this? Does that
I can.
A friend? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Could I? Well, do you have to? Because like Marco Coyle got me the connection for the quick. I just said that because of his role play. What does it cost?
You know what?
Take 1d if the friend or contact helps you.
I think that he did help you. And so, take that extra die, Joe.
Nice.
For sure.
Nice.
Oh,
all right.
You could be clearing a lot of stress here.
I'm hoping. I really need a 6 on this. All right, come on. Give me something juicy. Oh my God. A 1 and a 2. Oh, garbage.
It appears that Lucius was wrong about I killed your father.
Yeah, clearly.
I feel like I'm a little frozen. Give me tell the audience where our friend Archibald goes afterwards. What his post.
Well, I had some ideas, but I fear that I can't really continue without trying again. And I think that that's also, by the way, the hallmark of a gambler. So I feel like, he's like, no, it was just a bit of bad luck there. Lucius was definitely onto something. And he picks the next horse of that owner, the owner of I Killed Your Father for the next race. Because really that tip came down a little bit from the horse, but really from the owner and the owner's skill. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I didn't originally intend to do that, but I am sitting at 6 stress right now. That would mean
no choice.
Going into the next score, no flashbacks, barely aiding anybody. I mean, we could do it, and you just take a trauma. It's not the end of the world, but it would close him out of the operation relatively early, which is kind of scary. Yeah. So it's that, or I want to kind of look at it. So look, we took the money, right, and we split it out to 9 coins, right?
Right.
And we haven't used any of them yet.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to have a pitch. Jared, are you back? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm going to step out for a second. I want you to roll this, and then I don't know what happened. I'll come back and you tell me what happened. You're indulging your vice again. I want to find out what happens when I come back. I'll be right back.
All right. All right. Now that he's gone, I can lie about my diary.
See, I'm thinking about using my second downtime to recover, and then if I need to spend 1 coin just to get it out of there completely if I roll high enough.
I just don't really know.
Injuries, but
I just don't really know.
It's so high, it's better to just indulge again.
So what I'm thinking is I'll indulge again, and then I will use a coin to do one more activity, which is really It's a little bit of
can do
flavor,
that.
but yeah.
Right, you can use a coin to add an activity.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
really, it's not going to take a lot of time. It's something that we already did, but I'll talk about. But this, I just have to do this. So, actually, we could see it the other way. So let's do it this way. I haven't rolled, Jared.
Okay.
Here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to use my second downtime activity, and this brings me all the way back to what before when I was like, I want to add something into that deal, but I don't. I'll wait till later because I know it's going to come up later. And this is exactly what I was talking about. So I want to start a long-term project with Archibald. And I want that long-term project in this case to be really long. So I don't know how many segments it's going to be. Actually, it doesn't matter how long it is in segments. What matters is how hard is each segment to get. And in this case, I want to start one that is just true and honest to his character, which is he wants to own a horse.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, you can't just like go buy a horse because you got a bunch of money. It doesn't work that way. Like to actually own a racehorse, it takes a long time, and you have to make contacts, and you have to hire people, and you have to find horses, and you have to have bad horses that you go through before you really have one that'll race at Char Hollow Downs. And
That's
so,
right.
So to me, I feel like it's already done, and I can do one segment if you want, or a couple, whatever you decide. But the first step was getting the brand new suit to like start getting in the rooms to meeting people. So that was my idea. Is like that was a successful segment of that circle toward that long-term project.
I love it. I hope he's got a name picked out. I think here in a little bit, we're going to find out how many segments you filled on your long-term project and how many segments Marco filled on his long-term project. Remember, they don't come into fruition until all those segments are filled, and you're going to make a roll, and you might fill one segment or you might fill 5. So we're going to find out in a little bit, but that covers the 2 downtime activities for both Marco and Archibald, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now we go back to our friend Pontiac, and we find out, Pontiac, what is your second downtime activity?
Well, I was all ready to try recover because I've got that second level damage, that electrostatic burn.
Yeah.
However, I don't think we have access to a healer. So we would have to use the acquire asset downtime activity. Hopefully roll successfully on that to get a quality enough healer that we could then spend coin to get a third downtime activity to use, or wait until after the next score.
Yeah, I think that this is so cool because this is how the game is tough in this downtime, faction play time. Like, you have to make that call right now. Like, you're going to have to acquire the asset. That's your free downtime activity. And then you're going to have to pay coin if you want to heal yourself before your next score. And, you guys could kind of decide your next score before you even spend that coin. I'll allow that, right? Like, so you may,
Right.
if Pontiac is like, I think I can walk around with electrostatic burns and make this score and not die, like maybe he goes for it, but regardless, let's see about acquiring the asset, right? Let's see about.
No one has the psychicer special ability, right?
Physicer, yes.
Psychicer, sorry, physicer.
So stupid.
If there's a ghost field, I don't think it's that stupid to think that there would be a psychicer. Okay.
Second question is if anyone had the physicer special.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so to acquire the asset.
Yeah, this is hard because it's like temporary use.
You're going to roll your crew's tier. The result indicates the quality of the asset you get using the crew's tier as a base. So it means that you could get a really shitty physicer, or you could get a good one. You can spend coin to raise the level of level of the person that you roll here. You guys are tier 0.
It's your classic roll to take the lowest.
Jeepers.
So that means it's not a great role for you. And I will say that, like, you probably are going to start wanting to look into activities that will bring your tier up, because you can see how much trouble it is to be at tier 0 and try to acquire assets.
But for now, would you like to just try to acquire that asset and see how it goes?
Because even if I don't spend the coin now to heal myself or to heal somebody else, like we're going to need someone on our squad, unless this is just a temporary physicker. But let's roll it and see what happens. I feel good about this. And we could always, if we needed to, spend coin.
Great.
Oh, a 6 and a 4.
Hey, that's
equal to our tier, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so you get a tier 0 physicker. So I mean, you basically this is how I'm gonna rule. It's kind of annoying, but guys, this is the kind of stuff that happens. Tier 0 means you have to actually talk to the guys that have been bad mouthing you, the lost, and they, they're in that rail yard with you. And one of the things that they do is heal people because that's the nature of their organization. They're trying to live down their bad deeds and get better karma. So you get a physicker named Reed.
And this is temporary. I'm reading it now. Like if we want to acquire this asset permanently, we either have to use a crew upgrade to do it or work on a long-term project to make Reed be our go-to physicker. So this is now I have to spend the coin to try and recover, or if anybody else wants to recover. That is so cool. The stakes are high for these.
The stakes are high even in healing. This is like interesting. Yeah. So like basically you're having to go to guys that have been bad mouthing you, and it's going to hurt your pride a little bit to have to do that. But it's the only like tier 0 physicker who's like basically willing to do this, for free. Now you can still spend coin to improve the result. And in that case, you might get someone better than Reed. Do you want to spend the coin?
No. At this point, I know I'm already going to be spending the coin to try and recover. So I think I'll just take what I can get and swallow my pride.
Okay. Then, recover is a third action. So do you want to spend coin right now? And you can decide later if you'd like to go ahead and use that third downtime activity and recover.
Yeah, unless someone objects, I think this. If I spend one extra coin, it would be for that. I don't want to go into the next score with these burns.
I object.
How dare you,
Counselor?
Only I got a psychic.
Nay.
Okay, your psychicer, he's not really great. He's also tier 0. So he's gonna roll his 1 die of tinker to fix your electrostatic burns, and he's gonna see how many harm he heals when he does that. And Reed, like the thing that's annoying about him is the whole time he's like working on you with like these salves and balms. Spend the 1 coin and this starts to happen. He's like going like, there he is. Sometimes when the flesh is mortified, it's the gods telling us that we're on the wrong path.
Oh, God.
Sometimes, even though we think that an injury comes from an external source, we find really it was our actions that brought us upon us, don't we? He's like preaching to you the whole time. It's really fucking annoying. Or maybe it isn't to Pontiac. I don't know how Pontiac reacts to it. Okay.
God, it looks great.
That's amazing art.
Yeah.
I forgot that this isn't like automatic. It's a healing clock.
Here he comes. He's not that good. Just letting you know. He's tier 0. My man rolled a 6.
Get out of here.
So here's what happens. Your healing clock is completely filled. Normally there's a healing clock, but it's filled. So that means all of your harm reduces 1 level. So if you have any level 1 harm, it's gone. If you have level 2 harm, the electrostatic burns, they are now a level 1 harm.
Okay.
And
what is the effect of level 1 harm?
Level 1 harm. Remember, just when all of the harm fills up, you get a trauma. And if you already, if I tell you to take a level 1 harm and you already have all your level 1 spaces filled up, you have to put it in the level 2 harm category. If I tell you to take a level 2 harm and you already have all of your level 1s and level 2s filled up, you take a level 3 harm, and that usually, will tend to take you out of the game. So,
right. Well, I don't think it's trauma, is it? Isn't that stress? Stress relates to trauma. I think harm it just relates to, like, if you go over tier 3 harm, you're just down.
You're down. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. You're down.
But on the sheet here under level 1 harm, if you have 2 of them, it says less effect.
Yeah. So if you were going to get a good effect, it goes down one. Not good, but
the result of the roll, like from like a great effect to a normal effect.
Yeah, there's limited, standard, and great effect to every roll.
Okay. So even standard effects become limited. Wow, that's crazy. That's really cool.
I think that Pontiac's Burns, after this this guy Reed, like, puts all these, like, I mean, definitely homemade, like, herbal poultices on him. His burns are now a lot more subtle, like, just like occasionally, like, you can see like a little bit of a blue glow or a little bit of a sheen, but it is kind of negligible now. You could kind of miss it if you weren't looking closely. So that's good. That worked out for you. That worked out for you.
Thank God. That's good.
Coin well spent.
Can I actually jump in and do another one? I'd like to spend a coin to indulge in my vice again.
Okay. Yes, you may. Yes, you may.
Stress damage.
That's
I want to give it another shot.
Archibald just spends it all on the ponies. He spends it all on the ponies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. I would have been fine if it wasn't for that little pit in the dirt. So he's going to give it another shot. One die.
Go for it. Yeah.
Come on, buddy. Come on, man. 6.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exact. So no overindulgence and 0 stress. Oh,
I'm going to roll that time. You know, your idea of going for the same owner, right? Going to some of the other horses.
Oh, you heard
stable.
that. You were listening in.
Yes, my face was frozen, but my ears were very animated, and I looked like a potato, but I listened like a game master. And you guys, that was a great plan, apparently, because another one of his horses, one big. Of course, you don't get any extra coin for that because you sort of break even, like betting on other things and stuff.
Sure,
but that releases so much stress for you. To have one big with like a strategy that you concocted as a spider, like that's like exactly how your life is supposed to work. And so it really is a stress relief for you. Let's look at our long-term projects before we finally move into what the next score will be.
This is awesome.
Yeah. I think that as you suggested, and you guys can put these on your sheets if you'd like, so that you can keep track of them as well. Marco, I think that your clock to case the oxbacks is just a 6-section clock. They're not really a high tier, like very formidable enemy, but they are secretive, and you do need to kind of get info on them before you can move against them. And Archibald, I think that yours is a bit more. I think it's an 8-segment clock. It's kind of like a dream for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is very long term.
Okay, so yeah, you have to achieve the means to pursue it, which can be a project in itself. I think you got a new suit. Marco, clearly from his backstory, knows a lot about these guys, a place to start. What were you going to say? I think, Joe, were you about to ask something?
Yeah, I was just going to... what was I going to say? I was going to say that. So I also can see it's not evident right now. Doesn't have to be. It can be down the line. But I can also see how this long-term project could easily turn into scores, because it is such a filthy industry. Like there is no doubt that you go about this like just by doing everything by the book, so there's so much potential there for that. I just, the way that you did everybody else's thing, it's making me think about, all the ways you could approach the game. It's really
likewise
cool.
Fuck screwing over these oxback stevedores. I mean, what better way is to nip their cargo out from under them with a little smuggling of our own?
Right? Exactly.
That's right. And the other thing I'll say is, and I'm just throwing this out there to pick up or leave on the ground as you like, finding more allies in the racetrack by maybe providing something for them might be something that would even help you fill in sections of your clock or get you closer to it.
Oh, cool.
So here's the cool thing. I think that you're going to roll an action and the action is going to determine how many segments of your clock you fill in. And so I think for Marco Coyle, you're kind of just tell me how you case these guys. Tell me how you get intel on them. Tell me what strategy you're using, and keep in mind you're going to use one of the actions on your sheet to do it. So you want to pick something that's going to be good for you and let you fill a lot of sections of your clock up.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with consort, which I have, because despite being quite intimidating, Marco can also be quite charming.
Yes.
So yeah, going down by the wharfs in the water and seeing. Just taking watch of the comings and goings, not just of them, but also of sailors and harbor master folk and ship's boys, and also, as we know, I've got contacts among the doxies that are in the houses around here.
Yeah.
So I know the sort that knows the sort that moves the cargo.
Well, then, I think that you should roll your concert. You're hanging out in these little sea shanty taverns, drinking with sailors, getting into a stupor that way. Not quite, though, because you're keeping your ears wide open. And I would like you to please roll your consort and let me know what your highest roll is, what your highest number is.
And just to dumb question, but I just roll the number of pips that's next to the associated.
That
quality.
many dice.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right. 4.
Come on, pretty.
A 4. Very good. So 2 segments.
There you go.
4.
2 segments of your 4-segment clock are filled.
Oh, wow. That's
Okay.
great.
I mean, of your 6-segment clock. Sorry, you have 6 segments, but 2 of them are filled. So 1/3 is filled. And what I'm going to tell you is that you now know where their fucking secret guild hall is, where they have that golden calf, which warehouse where they all meet and have their little meetings to keep controlling the cargo in and out of Doskvol.
Well, looks like I found your little bovine boys club, you pricks.
Yes. And not only that, you also find out something else, my friend, with that roll.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you find out something else, and this is just another kind of thing that's floating out there. You find out that there's another crew of smugglers called the Fog Hounds, who mainly operate in and out of the docks, and they've been talking shit about you guys because you moved, electroplasm is their cargo. They move electroplasm. They're talking like you guys don't have, you're not bringing in good quality stuff. That stuff was old. They're trying to discourage people.
They were cutting
it. So
it's watered down.
It was out there a long time. I mean, that's the kind of things they're saying in these little sea bars and stuff. So look, these dockside bars. So look, I'm just kind of letting us know how the game is played, or at least how it is when I GM it. Maybe you make friends with these guys to kind of neutralize their effect on you, or maybe you guys are into retribution. Like if someone talks down your product or talks down your operation, maybe you give them a black eye. That's up to you. You decide how your crew operates, but that's one of the things that's happening on the street right now.
Okay.
And now let's look at our friend Archibald's long-term project. Archibald, you've got your brand new suit. You've got a contact at the track. You definitely know how to play the ponies, as much as there is a skill in doing it. Tell me how you're going to move this project forward this time, and specifically, I mean, what action are you going to use?
It's going to be the same. It's going to be consort again, because he's got his pretty new suit, and he's going to go and act like he's a legitimate member of society here, and start hobnobbing with people and start asking around about maybe trainers that are looking for work, or scouts, people that scout out horses or breed horses that are reputable, that kind of thing. And you know what? you can help me out with this because I'm just at a certain point. I can't wrap my head around everything, but I feel like this should be part of it. I am just going to like put this out there in the world. He's Skovlin. And I would venture to guess that like there's no Skovlin owners.
Nope, that's probably really correct because
So I think he's looking at like an impossible climb here, and he's got to be very careful about how he does it. But I think if he does it, he'll be the first one. You know, he'll be the first Skovlin legitimately within Doskvol to own a horse racing operation. And I picture it as like even if he gets there, then being like, you know, oh well, he got there with like his dirty underworld shit. And it's all rumors, but they haven't proven anything, that kind of thing. I think that it could fit, but. I just don't know like what he might come up against in trying to hobnob with the Akavosi elite. You know,
I think that's exactly right. I think that what Archibald is learning is kind of he's consorting and he's learning their lingo, how they talk, what they drink when they have a drink at that kind of exclusive little tavern that's kind of attached to the track, you know, like they have their own private back room. Is he able to get back there and just kind of start kind of learning how to behave like someone above his station, right? And he's smart.
Look at this. And look, these guys, right? They're all like 6 foot tall, 6'1", and they're looking down at him and he's so small, you know, I could see it.
That's great. Let's see if he's able to make some friends. Let's see how he does. Give me your consort roll.
Consort roll coming in hot.
Don't spend any more of our coin.
4 the hard way.
4?
2 twos.
Oh. Okay, so you fill one segment. You fill one segment. No, you don't fill.
Oh, that's right. It's different in this. That's right.
You fill one segment of your clock. But you know, I just want to let you know that you thought that you were getting along with these guys all night. You were drinking, you know, and you were trying to talk about learned subjects, you know, city policy, the bureaucracy, the current administration. And at one point you realize that they are laughing at you. And one of the guys makes like a short joke. He's like, "Oh, you definitely have a different point of view from down there, don't you?"
We're making enemies all over town.
I can't wait to start killing these guys. All right, sorry.
His friends laugh their ass off.
Too much to drink.
Yeah, his friends laugh their ass off at this admittedly weak joke. But it's not about being funny. It's about making you feel small. So that is where this we land at the end of our downtime activities. But guys, you've been doing other stuff. Those aren't the only things that you did. You are now deciding what the next score will be. And I've thrown a lot of hooks out there. I also want to bring up your sheet one more time. Can we bring up that cruise sheet one more time? Because there are options available to you other than the hooks I've kind of dangled. You see all of those places that say turf, and then they say like luxury fence. Here we go. And
side business.
Exactly. You can decide that you'd like to make a run at one of those places. And like fleet means you get more vehicles. Luxury fence means you get control over a fence to fence your smuggled goods. You get +2 coin on a payout because of this fence.
Wow.
Or you could just take turf. And when you do this, you start to fill in where it says the XP for cruise. There's a side that says turf. And when you take turf, you fill in XP more quickly. I think
it also
so,
allows you to like do those.
No,
other
it's not
jobs.
the XP. I'm sorry. It's here. It's your rep. I'm sorry. It's your rep. So you fill in rep more quickly, and that gives you it moves you up in tier when you fill up your rep. So that's really good for you if you want to think about that. And if people want to know more about the opportunities, now here's what I'll say. The opportunities that are directly beside your layer, which right now are luxury fence, 2 turfs on either side, and fleet down below. Those are more
I don't want to say easier, but those are more kind of in your worldview right now. They're things that would be not crazy for you to go after. But we've already established that your crew is desperately ambitious. So maybe you want to go for the ancient gate or the tavern, or the warehouses, these things that are a little farther away. But if you guys decide that you're interested in something like that, I'm going to make it that much harder. I'm going to make it harder because it's farther outside of your zone of influence right now. Or you could ignore this little graphic we're looking at right now. You could ignore the turf game and the faction game right now, and you could go for one of those hooks that we've kind of dangled in front of you so far. So what I would love now is just a conversation between our gang of scoundrels where they decide, and you can talk as your player identity as well, where you decide what your next move is.
Whew, we got some options.
Awesome.
I mean, for Pontiac, I really only have one thing, but having heard the rest of what you guys got going on, it seems a little bit more pressing. Pontiac will say, like, "Is this madam? Name's Clem. She's always been good to me. And there's another group that's trying to run her out of business. I don't know if it's a priority for us right now, but I'd like to help her if we could, and I'm sure it'll be good for the group as well."
Right, along those same lines, Marco, you give me that hookup on the quick.
Anytime,
looks
boy.
Right, but it looks like my buyer is much more interested in Spark and a whole lot of it. He's got buyers ready to go for the whole lot. So we get ourselves into we can find a big hole, smuggle it out, get it to him, can make a big payday.
I just so happened to have just made the acquaintance of a fella who had a line on all the substances that you might require. If that's the sort of thing you're in business with. But more to the point of our reputation, gentlemen. I hear there's a gang of foghounds putting us down around town. So I don't know if we want to put the knuckles to them. They're swaying to our side. But as long as they're dragging our name through the muck, I don't know if anybody's going to be bringing us any more jobs of any great repute.
Right, it's not as if we can go around town bragging about taking down a whorehouse or getting a bunch of Spark, but maybe putting a little hurting on this Foghounds group. Never liked hound racing myself. It's a bit of a dirty activity. Feel like, I don't know, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, if we make our mark by putting a hurt on them, people will start to respect the name, the Tin Whistles.
So I think is it ironic or
It's like fear in the hearts of men.
Clint, would you please erase the third rail?
You got your wish, Lavallee.
if you repeat something enough times?
It just sounds right.
I just want to let the person in the chat who suggested it know that is objectively the better name. The third rail. But it's going to be the Tin Whistles.
So
I'm
that's
just going to give you
one.
one little other point of strategy as your friendly neighborhood GM, which is that going after another group, great. Taking out a prostitute, a whorehouse, great. But if you want to get maximum crew XP, if you can give them a black eye, if you're like attacking another group, and also do a smuggling operation, you will get more XP as a smuggler crew, right? So, for example, if you wanted to attack these foghounds, if you wanted to hurt them, you might want to take over their route or something.
Right.
But of course, the foghounds are a dock-based smuggling group, so they do it by boat. Which, just follow my logic here. And again, I am not prescribing; I am only hypotheticalizing. It means that maybe you would need a boat first, which means you would have to go for fleet on your little turf map first.
Right, it's very interesting because, what kind of smuggling operation has no access to the sea? We've got to get a boat at some point.
I grew up on the water. It's high time we found ourselves a vessel could take us out into the ink dark waves.
I can already think of the name. The SS Tin Whistle.
That's right, Murmur. We're gonna bless these foghounds with a little bit of humiliation, a little bit of the old knuckle music, and show that these tin whistles know how to blow.
Knuckle music.
We're gonna show that the tin whistles know how to blow.
Please, can you please Google someone who can stitch that into a sampler for us?
Yeah, seriously.
I want that T-shirt.
Is this what
Tin
you
whistle.
decided?
Whistles
They know how to
blow.
Is this what you've decided? Is this what you're doing?
Get our fleet up and
You know,
Man.
I'm down with it. I think that owning a boat opens up so many opportunities. So
I'm down. Yeah.
I'm totally down.
do it.
It does get a couple of birds at once, right? You hurt the foghounds, maybe you opening up another smuggling route, and you're increasing your turf by getting that fleet square. And so we're gonna leave Doskvol today, but we're gonna leave our three scoundrels standing on the edge of the dock. The fog is moving in.
All right.
A pair of seagulls are fighting over some strangely mutated worm thing over in the corner. It has way too many segments, and they're ripping it in half. And is it a metaphor for how the gangs of Doskvol treat the city like a centipede and try to rip it into pieces and swallow the biggest slice? Yes, it is. You look out and you see the ship that the foghounds bring into harbor, and you're just looking at it and you're thinking how to make it yours, and that is what we will deal with the next time we play.
Yeah! Oh, awesome.
Fantastic.
Well, I thought that was fantastic. I loved that.
God.
Wow, the Downtime game was incredible.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah.
Housekeeping has never been more fun.
I mean,
truly is.
this deepened and opened the adventure in 1 2-hour segment, like way beyond anything I could expect. The next score has so much more on the line than the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And
much more rich.
it's like all the things that you want to get into, and sometimes in other games, every other game I've played, this game like puts it in the rules, like, oh no, this is the part where you get into all that stuff, all those long-term plans you have for your character, all that stuff where you want to eventually take over the world of the game. This game puts it right in the rules. Blades in the Dark, John Harper is the designer. It's part of the Apocalypse engine. Yeah.
So good. So
play
good.
this game. And listen, watch the Glass Cannon Network because these guys, they're the best at what they do. We loved having you guys on again. Thank you,
much, Jared. It was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. Great as always, Jared.
Joe and Troy and Ross Bryant,
Great stuff, y'all.
my man. You guys, love you all, and we will be back for more Blades in the Dark soon. We promise.
Yeah.
Blood and
thank
glass.
Blood and glass forever. The tin whistles, when they blow hard.
When they blow hard.
Blow hard, baby.
I'm going to say goodbye to my guests right now. I'm going to hang out for just a little bit longer. Bye, guys. Thanks again. So that was our second crossover with the Glass Cannon guys, who are the best people on the planet and the best role players. And I just want to thank them again. You can see more of our good friend Ross on Wednesday when we do chapter 17 of our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, Vampires of Pittsburgh. And if you tuned in last week, you know that we're on a make or break session where some crazy, risky actions have been taken. And there could be some really heavy fallout as we head into the Anarch War in Pittsburgh. I just want to remind everybody that we had some game art that we borrowed tonight from Cedric Peyraverne. I think I got it right that time. And he created the artwork for Dishonored. It is legal, of course, because
we don't make any money on this stream as of yet, but you know what? We would love it, since we don't have a Patreon, if you went to joincampaignzero.org and donated some money to them. They're looking for new ways to handle policing in America, which I think, everybody can agree needs to kind of see some reform. They're working really hard on that, and they would be a great organization to give your money to. The theme music you heard when we opened is by co.ag. It's called We Cannot Defend You. And guys, watch our Gen Con shows. Just search for Stream of Blood on the event finder. Oh, we have some questions. Are there recorded videos of the vampire game? Absolutely. We record every session, and you can find it on our Stream of Blood YouTube channel. And there's a Vampires of Pittsburgh playlist. We're 16 episodes in, but I keep them to about 2 hours. So it shouldn't take you too long to get through all of those. Please check those out, because we're really proud of it. And if you see how great Ross is, and Ashley Birch and Thomas Middleditch, they make the game so real and fun and crazy. And they constantly surprise me. So it's a really great game to check out. All right, I think that's all the questions. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to thank you all again for tuning in to Stream of Blood. Oh, wait. Is there any reason you don't have a Patreon? That's how the Glass Cannon make bank. Well, I won't speak of other people's ways of making money. I know that both Troy and Joe have some side gigs. And let me just say that Troy was speaking a little bit from experience when he talked about indulging his vice. But we don't have a Patreon yet. And the reason why is that we are trying to grow before we do that. We want to make sure that we're giving you the best product. We'd like to give you a product that's as good as the Glass Cannon. We think we're well on our way to doing that, but we're just trying to grow right now first. So the way you could help us is by telling people to watch. I mean, really just telling people that this was fun, that it was a good role-playing stream. I mean, you know your friends who are into this stuff, let them know about us. And that would be a huge contribution. So that's my request, my ask. All right. Thanks again, everybody. And until next time, when the tin whistles blow, they blow hard. Bye-bye.